Hey, well, tonight I'm going to do something a little different. Well, not too different. You've actually seen me do what the actual F legals before, always about something that I just couldn't sit with. Something very off the charts, bizarre, totally out of the legal realm of reasonable. Um, a YouTuber that violates a bunch of stuff, and or a lawyer that just doesn't do their research. And basically, this is going to be a new series. That is, if you enjoy it, or at least want to hear a little bit about it. But it's going to be about some of the more ridiculous cases out there. Not ones that I follow regularly, but the ones that come across my feed because they are ridiculous and people are talking about them, or they make absolutely no sense at all, or there's something about it that I just find that I'm shaking my head, scratching my head, and wondering why are they doing this? So I thank you all for joining me, and I appreciate your patience in the troubles that we have had, especially last night, having not doing true crime and legal update, which I will probably do either tomorrow or Friday for you. I do have updates on the cases we do follow, but I wanted to break this series out on a Wednesday and hopefully do it regularly. And well, the first one I got to talk to you about, it's a name that we're all very familiar with because it is something I have been following, but they've done some new stuff that has just like blown my mind. And I have to say, I find some of it quite humorous and quite predictable. But I thought I would just fill you all in on it. It's nice to see everybody coming in on the chat. I'm sorry I'm not saying hi individually. It's hard to type and do the presentations at the same time, but I see you and I appreciate you. We are streaming live on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch at the same time. And I just want to remind everybody, if you do already follow me on YouTube and you have a Twitch or a Kick count, I would definitely appreciate a follow over there. It's definitely free. We're trying to build a platform over there for true crime and some of the other discussions that we have, which is not what they normally do. We don't really have a category yet, but I'm determined. And, why not be one who, breaks the glass ceiling or conquers the frontier? I mean, why not? Why not? Also, if you are a Twitch or a Kick follower, DM me on Discord for an invite. I'm opening up for the next till the end of the year to all Twitch and Kick followers. You don't have to pay for a membership. It will be gifted. And so you can see what we do over there and get a little more familiar with how the channels operate and the kind of stuff that we'll be doing. So on that, I will put my Discord DM in the chat in a few seconds once I find it. I was not prepared. Thank you, Purple. And hello to the mods that are joining me. Thank you for dropping the links and keeping everything cool in the chats. And let's get started with this presentation. And a fair warning, sarcasm, going to be off the chart. Black humor, dark humor, like gonna talk real talk here because this stuff's lit, and I think you'll see what I mean in a second. All right, so this episode, Law and Disorder, Cases Gone Wild. We're only gonna talk about one case for right now, but towards the end of this very short live, probably less than an hour, I will ask you all which other cases you would like to get into that are quite ridiculous but popular currently. All right. Let's get this show on the road. All right. Bear with me. Are you ready? I hope you've all got something to drink. You're in a comfortable position. And I am not responsible, disclaimer, for how many times you smack your head during this actual presentation, because believe me, I've got plenty of lumps myself. If you're not scratching your head and smacking your forehead, then I haven't done my job. Because that's what this is going to be. Yep, there he is. Okay, okay. Shh, calm down. Yes, that is a picture of Andrew Tate. Yes, it is. And no, I'm not Tate obsessed. But for somebody who doesn't want anybody talking about him, this man just cannot stop. He just cannot stop with the ridiculousness. And I mean, like, ridiculousness. Because this, from his own mouth, or words, whatever you want to say, that he publicly posted on X, that he has allocated $400 million of personal funds because he's going after Google and Meta and TikTok. You know, all those platforms that decided that he was full of bullshit and canceled him at one time or another, like Instagram and Facebook, all of that. Also, every single girl who lied about him. He's going after the BBC, all mainstream media across Australia, the UK, and the US, and every Twitter account that defamed him. All of them versus him. And apparently he's got money to burn, because this is all ridiculous. Now, some of you will remember that in the case of Romania, the Jane Doe who actually started that ball rolling with the U.S. Embassy, the ex-Marine, okay, and her family, that he tried suing them in Florida. And that case is still going out, although it's been stripped to bare bones. They're now arguing about one tweet where she said she was going to make him pay, because everything else that he wanted about being defamed, about the legal case. Well, when they start an investigation on you, Andrew, how is it defamation when people talk about it? How is it defamation when it's an actual case against you? Just because you haven't been found guilty doesn't mean we don't get to talk about the case. In the warrants that were out on you, in what the indictment said, what the claims against you are, you know, people have a right to speak on it. You don't like it because it makes you look bad, and I get that, but you're not helping it any. You're really not. And this is a perfect example of how people misuse the justice system. Andrew Tate, in his entitled thinking, thinks because he have the money, he will just sue people into silence. He will throw enough money out after them that they will all shut up. And sometimes that works, especially with small accounts. But is Google small? Is Meta tiny? Does TikTok have time for this bullshit? More than likely not. And well, we're going to bring up a word that, well, everybody knows, but guaranteed most of us don't read. When we join a platform like X, Facebook, or even TikTok, Instagram, we create an account and there's a terms of service that goes with it. Now, most of us don't even read it. We just click through and say, I accept and go. But it's a legal contract. It's binding for you to use this service. And every single one of those companies has a right to decide how you will be on that platform, what they will accept or not accept, what you will agree to or not agree to. Now, granted, well, Andrew Tate does have a lawyer, Mr. Joseph McBride. And, well, he did a real big fancy letter and promoted it everywhere, you know, in regards to, you know, this lawsuit that he's filed on the 11th of August. So let me just read this letter to you, and then we'll discuss why, well, if you go and check out Joseph McBride's actual X account, you'll understand why there's several issues here. And well, even though he says it's a law firm and it has all the fancy letters and even puts Esquire out after his name, which I do agree, he probably has a law degree because he wouldn't be able to do that. Okay. But, well, just because you have a law degree doesn't really mean you know how to lawyer very well. This man comes off more like a PR lawyer. He's just public relations. He's just going to tout whatever his client says. And I'll back that up in just a minute. So the letter reads, on August 11th of 2025, two federal lawsuits were filed on behalf of Andrew Tate against Meta Platforms Inc. Remember that. And TikTok Inc. in Los Angeles County Superior Court, California. The suits allege defamation, civil conspiracy, and tortuous interference, accusing both tech giants of publishing false, reckless, and inflammatory statements that portrayed Tate as a sex trafficker, without evidence, without trial, and without due process. He says that Meta themselves have published this stuff. Yeah. These actions form part of a coordinated legal offensive led by Joseph D. McBride, who is executing a multi-jurisdictional strategy to vindicate Tate's name, defend his rights, and hold accountable those responsible for his reputational destruction. From defamation to malicious prosecution, McBride's campaign targets the institutional machinery that weaponizes false allegations for political and economic gain. Each case is a piece of a larger puzzle, a strategic counter-offense against the industrial-scale defamation perpetrated by media conglomerates, big tech, and their ideological enablers. To that end, Thomas Maniotis, McBride's co-counsel in Tate's Florida defamation case, is spearheading the Meta and TikTok filings as part of the broader legal mission. Thomas is a brilliant legal mind and a trusted partner, said Joseph McBride. His filings against Meta and TikTok speak for themselves, forceful, fact-based, and long overdue. These lawsuits send a message corporations cannot libel someone into silence and expect to get away with it. According to the complaints, both Meta and TikTok issued public statements in 2022 when they banned Tate from their platforms that falsely accused him of human trafficking and criminal behavior. The suits allege that these statements went far beyond moderation policies, crossing into the realm of actionable defamation and deliberate reputational sabotage. This is not content moderation, McBride said. This is character assassination on a global scale, coordinated, unaccountable, and devastating. The lawsuits seek compensatory and punitive damages, as well as injunctive relief, and represent a key front in Tate's legal fight for truth and accountability. Yeah, don't choke on that. People, just stay with me. Please, don't hurt yourselves, okay? Don't pick up anything, don't hit yourselves in the head. Yes, he's actually saying all this. Yep, word for word. McBride and Maniotis have pledged to pursue every bad actor, corporate, institutional, or individual who played a role in this modern-day digital inquisition. We are not just defending a man's name, McBride added. We are drawing a line in the sand. Powerful institutions do not get to declare guilt by press release and hide behind algorithms when challenged in a court of law. Well, that was quite the mouthful. And that also was probably written by AI, 99% generated by AI for the case. Mr. McBride is claiming that when they were deplatformed because of what they were doing and hurting others, and because there were legal investigations and indicted charges against them, which they were promoting and talking about on a regular basis, that their statements in 2022 are defamation. Now, stay with me, people, but we all know we can't actually defame someone if we're talking about the truth. He is under investigation for human sex trafficking, allegations of mistreatment of women all over, and actually, abuse of gentlemen themselves with his university stuff and how he markets and all of that. in his platform. And you know what? Don't these platforms have the right to say, we're just not that into you? We don't want you around? They get to moderate their content. They get to say whether you're causing damage to their actual platform. But you can sue all you want. I mean, apparently you don't have enough to do with everything. And the only way you can keep your name around is suing people. And because people are talking about all of your lawsuits. Seems to be. Because, like, your university is dying. You're not really having much success in marketing things. You're becoming a problem. And I used the example of the recent fitness thing in Romania, to where the Tates are found to actually be promoting it through one of their products that they actually sell. They are big into and have a vested interest, and they were going to have a table there. Tristan was going to come talk, and women were complaining about it. The women were actually told, just avoid the table. I'll send you to a tweet about it. Marcel Barbeau, the actual journalist in Romania, actually did something on it. I'll give you his link in a little bit, but they ended up canceling his appearance because, as much as they want to tell us all to just get over it, we have a right to what we want to be exposed to. And it was a big event where they were promoting safety for women by, building up their strength. And it was supposed to be a festival in an exhibition of all types of, self-defense and this, that, and products to make your life better in regards to health and nutrition and etc. And well, as much as the Tates want to say that they represent that brand, it's hard to represent that image when you've got all of these charges against you. And as much as they want to tell everybody that those charges are dismissed, they are not. They are stalled, granted, due to political and changes that have happened in the actual legal system in Romania. But they are not dismissed. They are not dismissed at all. And if they tell you they are, it's a lie. The case in the United Kingdom is going full force and will have a trial in June of 2026. They've lost their tax evasion case in the UK. They're under investigation in California and New York. Los Angeles, California decided not to press charges in the recent filing of charges by one of Andrew Tate's paramours, who he visited while he was over here in the United States recently. Well, he's also spending the money to countersue her because it's really not assault, according to the filing. If she only got a minor concussion, had he actually done any real damage, she'd be much more hurt. I kid you not. That's the defense. Saying that everything that he did to her was willing and under consent. And that a mild concussion is proof that he's innocent. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Couch, I agree with you. AI makes everything just so much better, But I'll tell you, it's just ridiculous, but it gets a little more fun, So many suits. This man is going to keep me entertained for a while. All right. Well, of course, the major platforms are going to respond, right? Well, in its response to the lawsuit, Meta kind of bolded out a little bit about the terms of service that I was speaking of earlier, pointing out directly that in their terms of service, more particularly for Meta, for Instagram, and for Facebook, all disputes have to go through private arbitration, not court. You can't sue them without going through arbitration. They don't allow jury trials, no class actions, and only small claims court is permitted outside of arbitration, tiny dollar amounts. Making, you're not following the terms of service here. And any judge is going to say, well, you had a contract to be on that platform. How are you going to prove your case here? Did you go through arbitration? No. Well, why don't you go do that first? Case dismissed. You come back and refile after all that's done. You're supposed to do all this first. And they bolded in their response, except as provided below, you and we agree that any cause of action, legal claim, or dispute between you and us arising out of or related to these items, terms of Instagram, must be resolved by arbitration on an individual basis. And you and we have expressively waived a trial by jury. Now, that's only one of the big ha-has. Because they also, by filing in California and suing Meta Platforms Inc., well, they forgot to read the contract to where Meta Platform Inc. doesn't run Instagram. Meta in Ireland does. In Meta Ireland's Instagram's terms of use actually explicitly provide for jurisdiction of Irish courts. And they explained this, in a June 23rd letter to them that they sued the wrong ones. And now the case is getting moved out of California, where they would have had a little more leniency. It's going to federal court. Plaintiffs sued Meta Platforms Inc. in California Superior Court regardless, and Meta Platforms Inc. is now entitled to remove to federal court this baseless action against it. Meta Platforms Inc. decision to exercise its right to remove under federal law is in no way a concession that it is an appropriate defendant for plaintiffs' claims, or that this court is the appropriate forum for plaintiffs' claims. Meta is still reserving all their rights. They're just embarrassing the hell out of you and your team of lawyers who are going to suck dry every penny of that $400 million with the bullshit that they're filing. If they didn't even read the contracts and the terms of services that you filed, that you agreed to before they sued these platforms, this is going to be a legal rodeo. A damn legal rodeo. Yeah. It is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm sorry that the big platform lawyers have to go through this and have to even bother. But then if they're getting a little smirk and a little bit of entertaining out of it, well, then it's not all bad. But also, worse than that, in this witch hunt for you all are talking bad about me and ruining my right. I can't sell stuff. Nobody believes in me anymore. Like people just don't like me that much anymore. And it's all your fault. It has nothing to do with anything that comes out of my mouth, any of the videos that I posted, any of the things I have said or done. Not to mention the lawsuits against me, criminal charges that are filed in multiple countries, investigations all over the place. But it has nothing to do with that. It's all because you all speak bad about me. And that's why I'm suing 15 anonymous Twitter accounts. And I'm going to sue them. And this I feel bad about. This is not funny for those that are being sued because these are not big conglomerate companies. These are independent journalists and accounts that have businesses speaking on issues, okay? And it's ridiculous that they're even getting sued. It is. It's because, well, for one, Murder by Crayons, which you all will be familiar with that name, I use their information they get it right from the lawyer, not the lawyer, but from the files in Romania, reporting in Romania. They double check stuff. They speak with Mercer Barbo, who's a journalist internationally. He's not like uncredentialed. He's very credible. And he goes to the court in Romania to get the information. And he digs deep. And he speaks on politics over there and elections, lots of things, not just the Tates, okay? This is information coming out right out of the case. I've never seen them not provide receipts for what they said. But they're being sued for defamation. and for ruining this man's reputation. And of course, tortious interference because he can't sell the goods of the university or being the big bad dude that rules the world. And everybody should follow his example and follow the example of Andrew Tate. He's so great. Not. Not. Okay. And so, well, apparently they feel, Andrew Tate and his legal team feel that fighting the onslaught of truth tellers is the only way to go. So he can still spit out his lies, spit out his manipulations and abuse, because that's what he wants to do. And he's not got the freedom to do it right now because he's being countered everywhere he goes. And when this many people counter what you're saying, well, you really should take a clue instead of spending $400 million, because that's not going to make people like you. You can't bully people into liking you with money. And even if these people have to settle their cases, they're not going to like you. And plenty of us are still going to speak about you. Most of these you'll get nothing out of. Nothing. Because these cases, well, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Murder by Crayons, along with Milk Bar, Nathaniel Livingston. I mean, these are larger accounts that do many different cases. Yes, they hit on the case for the Tate brothers, and they're talking about it. There's a lot to talk about here. It's a big issue. Human trafficking across the world is a huge issue. Sorry you got tangled up in that. You treated it like a business, Tate. Businesses have repercussions, especially if you don't follow the local laws. I don't think that Romania or the United Kingdom would spend all this money coming after you if they didn't have anything. And from the filings, looks like they do. Looks like they do. Because you can talk all you want about the cases being dismissed, but they're not. They're just not. But here we go. This is only a few of the 15. Most of them have remained anonymous, and I'm not going to put their names out here. These people have actually posted about it, or their name was public, okay? Because I don't want to violate anybody's personal privacy or have anybody going to them. And I say, anybody that I'm talking to or talking or mentioning in this, including the Tate brothers, I don't want anybody to go and put any hate on them or cause any harassment. That's not what this is about. This is about abuse of the legal system. This is about when the justice goes crazy. This is about, well, for me, wanting to see what happens at the end, because I think Andrew Tate's going to lose. I really do. And I hope these companies spend the money to squash it. As squashed as it should be, because it's ridiculous. Because after all, it is just another promotional attempt on Andrew Tate to say how great he is. And he's the big bad wolf. And we should all be sheep, be afraid of him, and just do whatever he says. That's not the world. And I just don't see that happening. All right.
I intended on litigating his bloodline into eternal.
Hey. Wait your turn. Oh, he's so rude. He can't even be patient. Do you see that? All right.
I intended on litigating his
and get it back to where it needs to be.
His bloodline into eternal poverty.
Oh, okay. Anyway, before Andrew starts mouthing off again, we will try to explain that there was a subpoena issued. And this subpoena is very, very broad. And both Milk Bar TV and which is Nathan, who you see pictured there, who does videos on this. I recommend you follow him on X and on his YouTube to get what the real issue here about freedom of speech is in the privacy of your information. Because to dig up in only to embarrass all of the accounts and to harass, as we know the Tates have done. We saw them do it in the Florida case. We saw it do it in the Romanian case. They had to protect the victims. They had to protect witnesses. There was witness intimidation. The second case clearly does have indication that they were charging for witness intimidation, okay, and interference. So this is kind of a red flag here. This broad subpoena, they're asking to hand over all identifying information, including names, birth date, physical addresses, length of service, credit or debit card billing information. Why would the Tate team, legal team, need that on individual X accounts that they are going to be subpoenaing to either be a witness, an affidavit, or to sue? Why do they need that? Billing information, emails, IPs? No. Why? Why would they need that? Here is the thread that Murder by Crayon did in regards to this. And there's more detail in there. They're asking for every correspondence for all from people they don't really need. Like, this is an abuse, an absolute abuse. Well, let me just move that back first and then present this again. Okay.
I intended on litigating his bloodline into eternal poverty. I would do exactly that with a smile on my face. I don't need a reason. You're going to have to defend yourself. You're going to be in court twice a month for the rest of your human years. I don't care. I will sue you for any and every reason forever. And you're going to have to hire lawyers and turn up forever. I will do that. I'm that guy. I'm petty. I'm petty, and I've got a lot of money and a lot of time. So it's not even about guilty. It's not about why. It's just about because I can.
See? Just right from him directly. He doesn't have a case. There's no defamation. He wants to make people who make him look bad suffer. He's being petty, and he's using the legal system to do it. But you see, the legal system does have some ramifications for this and some consequences for this. I mean, if I was them, I would send that clip to the judge with my next filing. I think everybody that gets sued by Andrew Tate should send that clip in with their response. Because frivolous lawsuits get tossed all the time. Okay? You really need a case for it to stay. And you should actually sue the right party. And you should actually check the contract you signed before you actually sue somebody for not performing their end of the deal, while you violate all the arbitration and all the negotiation. Every contract that you sign on all of these platforms, including YouTube, has some type of clauses in it, in statements in it, about how you'll settle differences between the two of you before you go legal. And you better have done all of that. You know, courts don't look at it too lightly when you skip, or act entitled, or just come out and publicly say, I've got the money and the time, and I'm going to make your life miserable. I don't think that bodes very well. No. You see, if they're doing this to try to make their reputation better, I don't get it. How is this making their reputation any better? If anything, it just shows me what clowns they are. Not the sharpest tools in the shed. And then really, with that $400 million, could you not pay for a better attorney? Or is it that the real attorneys don't want to take the case of somebody who's, got so many charges against them already that they haven't been able to wiggle out of, regardless of what they say? Or maybe you just had to, get the attorney that would buy the bullshit. Believe in the message of Andrew Tate. But the world is just there for taking, and he's the alpha. And he ain't going to do it. And you're just going to do what he says. Maybe that's it. Because I don't see this going well. And that subpoena, that's a lot of stuff. And that's a lot of expense for quite a few of these X accounts who are, some of them anonymous. Some of them, their real names are out there, even though they use catchy names like I do, Claire View, but my name's out there. I'm not hiding. I might be an avatar that doesn't show my face, but I'm not hiding who I am. I'm not pretending to be a character or something else. And neither is Murder by Crayons or Milk Bar TV. They take what they do seriously, and they really try not to defame. or put false information out. And I will say for both of them that if anything does come out or is misrepresented, that they correct it. And I've watched it for years. It's hard to win a defamation suit when you're not lying. I mean, that's the biggest hurdle here. And if they didn't lie, then how did they interfere with your tortious adventures, your business dealings? The truth is interfering with your business dealings. Your reputation about actually having charges filed on you is what's ruining your business endeavors, your ability to do all of that. And actually, I'd say even more than that, perhaps even your response to all of it. The denial, the outright lying. I mean, yes, the cases are stalled. Yes, it's taking a long time. There's a little grain of truth in some, but as far as dismissal, the outright lies that you say, no. Sorry, Mr. Tate. Like that's not helping at all. So, and as evidence, the case on August 6th, they were back in Romania for another, what we would call here in the United States, a hearing, where they go in and they review again whether they should stay on judicial control, which means they need permission to leave the country, which they do get, but they have to say where they're going to be and they have to check in. They remain under judicial control imposed by DCOT because the appeal to have it removed was denied. And that decision is now final because the Bucharest Tribunal has that case as still active. It is not dismissed. If the case was dismissed, so would the judicial control, but it's not. And this is the account that I was telling you about, and I have mentioned before, and anytime we speak about Andrew Tate or we get information out of Romania, this is the journalist who's an international journalist. He does stuff on Ukraine. He's doing a lot on the Romanian elections and some of the issues that they're having right now. And currently, the judicial system is at a halt in Romania in protest to certain things that are happening in regards to current elections and procedures that are going. That's the truth. So we just have more delays. But it's not because the case is dismissed or because Andrew Tate is correct in saying that everything is just false and he's innocent until proven guilty, just like anywhere here in America. I can't say he's guilty of these charges. What I say is that he's been charged and he's facing a court case, a legal court case in Romania. I'm not saying he did it. I'm saying there's a case where they are charging him with it. So allegedly, these are all the things that he did. Still has to be proved. Have not been tossed out. As a matter of fact, after the last review of the evidence, the judge left in all of the text messages, all of the WhatsApp and all of the conversations between the Tates, the co-defendants, and all of the women. And they were pretty, from what we've all seen, pretty damning. And that's all in. So I don't know where he's coming from saying that everything's being tossed and there is nothing or that it's dismissed. I see no evidence of the case being dismissed. It is active in the Romanian files. And the first case is still going back to have the indictment rewritten in regards to the amount of money per victim in things that have happened had to be reallocated and restated and then sent back. And that, well, that's that. Well, so when you're all still here, or at least a good amount of you are still here, so I didn't scare you away. Let me look through the chat. I thank you. Well, that was the presentation. I'm just telling you that this is really crazy. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Charlotte, good to see you. Thank you for being here, Shill and Manding, both over at Twitch and in Kick. Rocket Couch, good to see you. Mousy, Grace, of course. It's and Mrs. May, my boo. It's good to see you. I did make it live. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Did have trouble yesterday. Did have a lot of trouble yesterday. Yes, Rocket Couch the AI did make that lawyer's letter sound so nice. Really like a PR, right? Public relations for sure. Yeah, Mrs. Cassandra says, I already know who we're going to be talking about. Of course you do, because it's crazy. This man makes me crazy. This whole thing makes me crazy. But on that, I have questions for you guys, I'm going to put up a poll on the, hey, Karen, good to see you, on the YouTube side, because I can't create polls elsewhere. Oh, hey, Wrecker. How are you? Oh, you're listening? All right, so let's see. Yeah, yes, Couch, yes. The guy spends $400 million to hire lawyers that don't even bother to write their own legal documents and farm that shit out to Chat GPT. I'm not even upset. Tank got scammed, and that's hilarious. Yeah, he's getting his dollars worth, isn't he? I'm glad he's got $400 million to waste because, like I said, they're going to spend every penny of it. Yes, we're going to be sued, Mrs. Cassandra, having an opinion about a legal case. Yes, we're about to be sued. Yes, we are. We are all going to be sued. But now, here are some cases that, well, if you liked this, would you like some more cases like this? Like, there are examples. Like, do you want to hear more about Logan Paul's ridiculous suit against CoffeeZilla? Or do you want to hear about the lawsuit that could change the YouTube and Twitch platforms for quite a time? The one that Ethan Klein has filed against Hassan Orbiter's denims in frog something or other in Casey Tron. I don't know what the frog one's name is, actually. I'm not trying to be facetious. I really don't remember it. But there were 3 of them who played one of his videos in entirety and actually said publicly on stream that they didn't really want to comment on it. They just didn't want him to get any views for it, which actually is against YouTube's terms of service. That is not exactly fall under fair use when you purposely are interfering with another channel's growth and views. That's torturous interference. Yeah, he got them there. And in that case, they're actually suing the Discords and getting all the mods that were actually telling them and encouraging them and talking about it on how to do it. And those subpoenas were approved. Yeah, that's interesting. That could actually change. That could actually change how things are done on these platforms a little bit. It is quite a few other really crazy lawsuits out here. Well, there's also Drake versus UMG because he's mad at Kendrick Lamar for saying what he said in a rap battle that he participated in, by the way. That's a big sour grape suit. And then there's a lot there too. But all of this is like hot mess, like Mrs. Cassandra said. Hot mess express. Do you want to talk a little bit on Wednesdays for just a brief time about some of the more ridiculous things going on out there? I do take my regular true crime and legal update quite seriously, and we get into the nuts and the bolts, and we try to be very unbiased and give it from how it should look in the courtroom and what the jury is going to say. Okay, but not this. This one on Wednesdays, this is the free-for-all. This is where we get to really say how ridiculous we think it is. And maybe that's what I should call it, Mrs. Cassandra. The next episode I'll call Hot Mess Express. But please put in there which ones ridiculous. Yes, Grace, great name. But please tell me what cases and things you want to look at that are kind of weird. Yeah, Grace, what a punk is right. You know, whose voice is that? Oh, you mean Andrew Tate when I played him? Yeah. Hmm. Those are good names, guys. There are so many. So, okay, if you think of any later, just put them, on the comment section of the video, which I really would appreciate. Like, I love reading the comments, guys, please. And I want to thank those of you that hyped the last video I did on Saturday with Recker when we did our 48 laws, because it did get pulled from the algorithm because they don't want us to actually mention Trump. Like, for whatever reason, it's not cool unless I sign up for some kind of political stuff or whatever, which I really am not doing. We just used it as a reference for speech, like because he does speeches and for how you can convince people and stuff, and whatever. But I do appreciate that you guys did that. It's a new thing that YouTube is rolling out. Apparently, if you have it, it's on your mobile phone. It's only on the mobile app right now, but you can actually hype a video that you watched. You can do 3 of them, I believe. And you can do 3 a day, I believe. Isn't that right, Purple? Isn't that what you said? I think it's 3 a day. And what it does is it gives the channel points and it helps us back into the algorithm. Like it would push it for activity or whatever. Oh, 3 per week. Ah, okay. Not day. Okay. That's a little bit, I don't know. It's 3 something, right, Mrs. Cassandra? But anyway, it does help. Because I get, even this will probably take a while to load. It'll be days before it gets in the algorithm, But anyway, so Mrs. Cassandra says she wants to hear more about the one that may change YouTube. That would be the Ethan Klein lawsuits. And yeah, that's a bit crazy. Yeah, and I will, because he's got some points, I mean, I do believe in fair use, okay, in with copyright. But if you're going to put up somebody's video and not actually talk about it, I mean, one of them actually left the room and just left it full screen. It wasn't even there while it played. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. So, you're supposed to alter the content in some way and change it, some of them said because they made it longer by doing stuff before and after, that was their change to it, but that's not that didn't change the video. You know what I mean? That didn't change the content that Ethan Klein did. And so I don't know. It's very interesting. So I'll pull some information on that. And next week we'll probably talk about that one. Yeah. But on that, I'm gonna sign off now. And see you all either tomorrow or Friday, definitely on Saturday when we do another 48 laws. And I apologize again for last night, but nothing I can do. YouTube had a big thing. Nobody could get into their studio to create their lives. Like I couldn't create my live to go live. So there you go. Yeah. I do hope you had a little bit of fun, even and you didn't hurt yourselves smacking your heads too hard about the Tate stuff. We're going to cover his regular legal stuff, of course. We've been following that. And we now only have 20 cases that we're following, and I'm going to keep it there. We'll see how far we can get down. The next update for true crime and legal updates will be on Courtney Clenny and Paul Canero. Paul Canero's case is coming up in September. And Courtney Clenny, there's a big change there, and I want to actually bring that to you. Either tomorrow early, a much earlier stream. I don't want to interfere on Thursdays with some of my good friends who do some really good stuff on their channel, so stay away from that. Or Friday. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to do it Tuesday. Barring the YouTube gods all behaving and working in the universe, not messing up anything now that I put a plan out there. Because you know how that is. We make plans and the universe laughs. Huh? Anyway. You all have a good night. Thanks for tolerating my rants. I'll see you all again really, really soon.